Today, for the first time in my life, I'm gonna be taking a look at the show Squidbillies, and honestly, sometimes I feel like I'm living under a rock, like I just don't know things, like I'm Bane crawling out of the abyss, and somebody asks, "Hey, have you ever heard of Squidbillies?" And I'm like, "No, I was born in the darkness, molded by it, I've never heard of fucking Squidbillies." It's just never a show that's come up in my life, which is kind of odd because it's went on for 13 seasons. 13 seasons is a lot of time for me, at least, to see a clip from this show, but it's never happened. I've never heard a wink, never saw a peek, nothing. So today I'm gonna be taking a look at Squidbillies to see, was this show actually good or was it bad? This is a pretty heavily requested one, so it should be a lot of fun. If you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. I upload every single day, you don't want to miss it. And if you want a place where you can talk about games, movies, and shows with like-minded people, Discord in the description. If you want some bonus content, Patreon also in the description. Now let's finally take a look at Squidbillies. Taking a look at the highest rated episode in the series, we have the episode Flight of the Deep Fried Pine Booby, so that I could understand the best that Squidbillies has to offer. And honestly, while watching this intro, I felt like Sherlock Holmes, but before he solves anything, just in my head, the only thing that's going on is discombobulate, discombobulate, discombobulate. And then all of a sudden, it was all making sense as I watched this squid grab some chewing tobacco, throw it in his mouth, he's chewing it, and I was like, oh my god, it's a hick squid, it's a hick squid, hillbillies, Squidbillies. It all made sense. I finally understood what the concept of the show was, and I can't believe that I didn't put two and two together. They're hick squids, hillbilly squids. Dear Lord, I feel like I've ascended to the ethereal plane. I am fucking ready to lactate and get this show going. So we then cut to the actual episode, and we got this guy named Dan Halen holding a bird in his hand, and I don't really like these birds. They're the pine booby. The main reason I don't like them is because their skin is like already deep fried, and every time they move, it's like just sounding like somebody's crinkling some fried chicken in my ears. It's probably what Colonel Sanders does to his victims in the basement, just like, "Ooh, you wanted to figure out the recipe? I don't think so, bro." And he just starts crinkling it in their ears until they start screaming violently. That's how the birds make me feel, at least a little bit. But either way, he starts talking about how he wants everybody to capture the pine booby alive so that he can give them free wings so that he could build his awesome super shopping mall in this area. And that just made me think about one of my favorite jokes of all time, where like, if you're out on a beautiful hike, you see a little water stream flowing in, perhaps you go out into a nice meadow, a little bit of a clearing, you see a baby deer run out into the middle of that field, you lock eyes with it and you think, well, I guess I'd rather a highway be here, you know? Like, it's just a natural feeling, like, oh man, look at the beauty of nature, I need a highway, a strip mall, and a homeless man begging me for a hot dog on the corner of it all. It's just an innate desire, everybody craves it, obviously. So he snaps the bird's neck and says free wings, and that's when I got to meet the main characters for the very first time. We got Early, at least I think his name is Early, or if I say it with a little more of that southern pizzazz, Early, you know, and we got his son, or his brother, or whatever, Rusty. You know, they be squids and squidding it up in the hillbilly type format. You know how it is. And they decide that they need to go and hunt this bird and catch it alive because they want those free wings, those free yummy food. At least I think he's offering wings. I think that's what Dan said. But either way, they go out into the forest, and this is probably some of my favorite, you know, I guess a take on hunting I've ever seen, because dear Lord, this would add another layer to hunting if you had to be a little bit seductive. Imagine instead of putting on some orange, some camo, some, you know, stuff that you might need to attract those little critters into murderous death. Instead of that, you oil up a little bit. You put on some nice smelling cologne, maybe the finest new smell of beer piss. I meant bear piss, don't smell like beer. They're not gonna want to get that aroma. You walk out into the forest and you get your duck call. Let's just go for a duck here for a second. And instead of just blowing it and it makes a duck noise, you go, "Oh, I need your duck-ussy. Oh, I can give it to you real good. Oh." That's basically what they're doing. It caught me so off guard when Early, he starts like just making this noise with his lips. He's just like, "Oh, come back to my place and we can get it on.
How about I buy you sex on the beach? We go back to my pickup line in the Mexican restaurant and get it on."
And the pine booby starts reacting and just speaking naturally like, "Oh, that sounds kind of good. You got a sex on the beach for me? A nice little alcoholic beverage," which was pretty wild. I didn't expect it to turn into a seduction event. I really wasn't going for all of that, and boy oh boy did it just ramp up when Rusty walks over and they bring over the sex on the beach and they start playing some of that there music, and he's all like, "Alright, pine booby, show me some of your damn there moves," and the pine booby starts just throwing vigorous, malicious ass all over Rusty, just twerking it up, smacking those cheeks all over his body, earning that trust.
To the middle and come take a taste of the groove, and we keeping it real smooth. Get on.
And I was unbelievably shocked at this development. I did not think they were going to try to seduce the bird in any kind of way. That's not what I thought was gonna happen. But either way, that was really fucking funny. The sheriff, he tries to stop all this from happening, but they eventually do tie up the pine booby and take it into the car. And yeah, the pine booby, it apparently is a little bit more than we thought it was gonna be. It is capable of things I never imagined, because they're in the car, they're driving to the mall to give it to Dan Halen so that they could get the sweet succulent wings, because you know who else needs fried wings? Oh my god, my mom! So they're really thrilled about this. They're just hicking it up, hillbillying it up. They're in the car, and the pine booby looks around, and it has one thing left in its back pocket. It looks at them and it's like, "Guys, you don't gotta do this. Can you bless me money-wise? I can suck your dick. I can suck your dick right now, okay? I can give a mean blowy."
I'll do whatever you want. I'll suck your dick. You. How about you? I'll suck yours.
And I was, again, unbelievably shocked. Like, I just watched this bird throw immense ass, so I guess I shouldn't be shocked that it's also now offering to give a good old-fashioned blow. That just, shocked me. They're not really all for that. They don't really want that until they learn that the bird has $20. What can you possibly do with $20? What can you do with it? Well, I just like the immediate cut where they buy one sparkler, just one firework, one sparkler, and they're just sitting there. And like all of them are just taking turns going, "Yeah! Yeah! It's a sparkler!"
Let me hold that thing there.
Hang on, son. Hang on. Fireworks, baby. Wow!
Yes! Oh my god! Just pure thrillment and enjoyment. I wish I could get that much enjoyment from a sparkler in my life. That was thrilling. I loved that so much. So then, the episode does get a little bit weird after that, a little bit funky, because the bird starts just spraying immense ass, like just so much ejaculation coming out of his ass. That's probably not the right term I should use, but he starts spraying good stuff out of his booty cheeks. That is helping, because Rusty's sitting there and he's like, I'm just gonna pop this zit, and then he pops it. And then the bird's all like, "I can help you with that. You don't need to suffer in any kind of way, my dear boy." And so he goes over and sprays him with his ass juice, and then all of his acne is gone. So he's feeling unbelievably thrilled, unbelievably rejoiced. And, I was glad that he felt silky smooth. I was happy for him. I thought it was a cool concept. But then all of a sudden, I guess this is my fault for starting off with one of the highest rated episodes and not understanding anything. Unless this is just something that happens naturally in an episode, I don't know. But you hear some banging on a basement door for some odd reason, and that's locked. All of a sudden, this creature climbs out that apparently is like their grandma or their mom, that has a giant tumor on the side of its head, and I found it unbelievably disgusting. And it didn't help that this woman was clearly also covered in feces. Like, there's just brown dragging everywhere, and I'm like, what are you doing to this woman? What's going on? Who is this? And the pine booby's all like, "Oh, darling, I can help you. Oh, let me spray my beloved ass excrement all over you." And he sprays it on her, and her tumor goes away. And I was like, "Oh, huzzah! No more tumor. How great for her." And then she just fucking dies.
My spray.
Oh, you son of a bitch! Oh, looky there. It's finally gone. Oh.
She lies on the floor and dies. So, I guess maybe the tumor was a good thing after all. I don't know. Either way, that was really funny. Not much else to say about it. He's ready to get rid of this bird. He's ready for it until the bird sprays his excrement all over him and he regrows his hair, and that was pretty awesome, because, you know, like, I'm pretty useful to you guys. You gotta help me. I mean, sure, I just spray an ointment, a magical ointment from my anus, but you guys gotta help me. You guys gotta keep me here. You don't want to send me to the place where you could get wings. And they're all, like, semi in agreement, and then Dan Halen shows up with a helicopter, and I thought this scene was really funny because the show inherently looks really awful. Like, the squids look awful, the way they even talk sometimes is out of sync and looks really bad, but then there's just this omega well animated helicopter just coming in, and it looks so good. It looks so much better than the rest of the show that, you know, like, sometimes you can complain about animation, but it definitely feels like it's on purpose to give you a specific vibe with these Squidbillies, and I was actually all for it. I did enjoy it. So the helicopter shows up, Dan Halen is there, and he starts playing a sick-ass beat that just makes you want to get up and shake your ass, and the Pine Booby can't resist it, and him getting grabbed was so funny.
Damn, this track is hot!
He gets taken away. They go back to this lab where they're just squirting all of his juices in a barrel. The squids come back to rescue him, and then apparently the Pine Booby were planning this all along. They show up, and apparently the Pine Booby they've been messing with this entire time wasn't real. He was a robot, and they burned the entire building down, and that's pretty much the entire thing. You know, damn, this track is hot. They start jamming again and they all fly away. That's pretty much the entire episode. And I'm honestly in shock a little bit. I didn't think this show was going to hit so hard. And obviously this is the highest rated episode in the series, but if any episodes are even remotely like this, then I can tell I'm going to be having a great time because the characters are funny. It seems like the writing is pretty on point with the jokes that they want to tell, and it feels like there's passion behind it. Even if the animation and the drawings look a little funky, it feels like it's supposed to be like that to give you a specific vibe, and I'm all for it. I thought this was great. So if I was to rate this episode 1 through 10, I would probably give it a solid 9 out of 10. This was a great experience. Now taking a look at a random episode, we have the episode The Big Gay Throwdown, and I honestly just had to look at this one because a show like Squidbillies with all these hick squids, I just had to see how they would tackle a title called The Big Gay Throwdown, and I'm not disappointed. I don't really know how to feel. It's all over the place. The episode starts off with the sheriff just staring at this board, this marker that's supposed to be the introduction to their town as you drive in, and he has to slap on there a sticker that says second oldest glory hole, and I was already in shock about that. I mean, I don't know how many people would yeah, the oldest glory hole, oh, I must go there, I must participate in the oldest glory hole. Oh, that sounds like it's gonna be a little bit disease ridden, but who am I to judge, I guess. And then all of a sudden the Reverend walks over and he's like, what are you doing? The glory hole, it was all that we had in the name of the Lord. The glory! You know, he's very upset about that, and I don't know if I'm, like, missing something, but a lot of the show, things will just happen without a conversation actually leading to it. Like, the Reverend's talking about a glory hole, and then all of a sudden the sheriff's like, well, there's only one thing we could do. We gotta turn this place a little bit topsy-turvy. And he, like, slaps a sticker on the sign that says, The Big Gay Throwdown. Okay. Yep, they're having a one-night super gay fest for no apparent reason. Like, how does it correlate that your glory hole is now the second oldest glory hole, which I guess diminishes it a little bit, so now you're gonna have a big old gay fest? I don't really get the correlation there, but I mean, hey, pop off. And then the Reverend just starts going, no! We must stop homosexuality, no!
It's just the whole world gone topsy-turvy.
We must act now to turn back the tide of homosexuality.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you can be a reverend and be okay with a mass glory hole, but you can't be okay with a little bit of this. It's just a little bit odd to me. I don't really know where they're going with that. But either way, the progression of it is really stupid. Where Early walks over and he's like, well, what are you gonna be doing with them there gay people? I voted on Proposition 114. They shouldn't be allowed here. They shouldn't even be able to drive cars. And the sheriff's like, well, you know, that's not actually what you voted on, even remotely. Of course, they could have a driver's license.
They can drive cars now? Oh, hell! They'll spread like a virus!
And again, it's kind of all over the place with the shit they're talking about. Like, I don't know how the progression went from a glory hole to the Reverend not liking gay people to early walking over and being like, why are we allowing them to drive vehicles? I don't really get it very much. So, Early is now very aware of all the gay people that are going to be coming to town, so he goes to his house, and they all get under a blanket and barricade the door. And I actually laughed at this a lot because they're just sitting there like, all right, guys, we gotta be very quiet. One of them there gays might come and do things to us. And then they hear like some footsteps up on the porch, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, guys, get down. It's one of them there gays.
It's a gay on the porch.
Like, I can't imagine the mass amount of fear you must be feeling. Oh dear Lord. And it turns out it's just Sheriff. And this is where stuff gets really, really odd. Because the Sheriff walks in, and again, none of these conversations are really making much sense at all. He eventually rips off all his clothes, and he's wearing, you know, a thong and just like a bra. And he's like, I gotta go undercover and weed out all those gay people, and I'm gonna lock them up. And then they look at the grandma, and she's just like sitting there politely, and all of a sudden they start saying, your grandma's gay, she's a homosexual, clearly she is a homo. And I was like, why, what are you doing? And she starts screaming, no, I had babies, please.
Shame on you and your disgustedness. I had babies.
Well, what were you listening to when you conceived them babies?
I just can't fathom this. Like, can you imagine, like, I don't know, the gay police and at one point, and they start like going around town and finding like people who have even had children, and you just start screaming and crying that you've had children, and they still just like smell the gayness deep inside of you. I don't know, that's the vibe I'm getting from here, because the grandma genuinely did nothing to insinuate that she might be a homosexual. They just started pointing her out. It's just so dumb. So that happens, and then just all of a sudden, for like genuinely no reason, Early has a flashback to him taking a shower, and a big, meaty, bulging man walks in and throws some soap on the ground, and Early's like, well, you dropped your soap, and he turns around, and you could just see his squid ass cheeks just sitting there menacingly as the big, bulging man walks up and starts doing horrible, atrocious things to him. And then it cuts to Early back in the real world, and he was apparently on the floor crying. I guess something awakened a deep trauma deep inside of him, and then he wakes up and just punches Rusty in the face and says, I'm a man! I
was just kidding. Ow, damn! Why'd you do that? 'Cause I'm a man!
I don't know what happened there. Again, like, it's not like I'm having a bad time even remotely. I just don't know what this progression is. Like, all of a sudden, they're calling Grandma gay. Grandma's a gay. Get rid of her. She's a gay. And then all of a sudden, Early has a flashback to being used up in prison or something. It's just all so unbelievably odd. So odd. So then they go to the big gay throwdown, and it's a one-night special, and the sheriff's just sitting there. He sees a man walk in, and he just lights up a big old passionate hick smile. He sprints on over and just starts passionately kissing a man for like a solid minute and 15 seconds. Well, Early's like, oh, don't worry, Rusty. He's undercover right now. He's not gonna do anything dirty with him. And then the sheriff says that they're moving away, and this makes the priest run over to him. And he's just like, begone, foul demon! Let the gay leave your body! And I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm assuming they're just gonna not do that. And then all of a sudden, Sheriff floats up in the air, and a gay homosexual demon comes out of him. Like, it's just, oh, so odd. It's so odd. And the Reverend, just the way he did it was so funny. Just walking up and just being like, oh, queer demon of gayness! What are you doing here? Leave his body!
Come out! Come out!
Reverend, this is 2009. Give it a rest.
And the fact that an actual demon came out who is a homosexual was pretty wild. And then all of a sudden a bunch of demons come out, and They start like talking about how he should have told them that they were gay, referring to the gay demon, and then the gay demon leaves with his homosexual lover, and they all go have a loving romance, and that's pretty much the episode. Sheriff gets up, and just because the gay demon has left his body, it has not left his soul. He has pride in himself, and so he decides to move to Stamford, Connecticut with his new lover. Good for him. Very good for him, and that's the entire episode pretty much. Yeah, pretty wild experience. Gotta say, the pacing was definitely all over the place. Don't really know what was going on there, but still, it was enjoyable. I kind of enjoyed the randomness. It's a certain amount of shock humor that I could take, because at least they were actually setting things up. Aside from the early getting used up in prison, I don't know where that came from. That was really weird, but it was still, I feel wrong to say it was entertaining, but I don't know how to feel about it. It was definitely something. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give it a solid 7 out of 10. Pretty gosh dang decent. Now taking a look at the lowest rated episode in the series, we have the episode Let Her Rip, and honestly, there is a major quality drop-off, and I feel like it's because this episode is all the way from season 13, which, you know, the longer a show runs, it usually gets worse and worse and worse, and even the main voice actor for Early is gone at this point, so maybe that should have been a clue like, oh man, maybe we should move on from the show, maybe do something a little bit different, because the quality drop-off from the best episode I watched to this, it feels like I'm watching a completely different show. The episode opens with Rusty. He's working as a grave digger, and he's like, yeah, I'm digging this grave, and then he hits a gas line, which, you know, should be more important than it is. His boss is very angry, very upset. He goes inside, and he starts digging in a man's nose, like, aggressively. He's a mortician, so he's prepping the body, and I've never seen a man prep a body quite like this. Just digging inside of that nostril, digging deep in there, and ripping out his brain, and that really bothered me. That was just pure shock value right there. There was no substance to that. Just a brain being ripped out with some very not fun noises to accompany it. And Rusty walks in and he's like, well, I think there's a gas leak, boss. I literally smell gas. And his boss is like, millennials these days. Millennials. And he starts like lighting a lighter in an oven. And of course the building explodes and his boss is fucking dead. Yes, his boss is dead. So now Rusty, he has to become the mortician, which I feel like could have been a lot more fun if this was all the way back in their early seasons, because I feel like the comedy would be better. But because this is season 13 and Early, even as a new voice actor that I don't like as much, it's just a little bit weird. It just feels wrong, even though I've only seen one episode. I don't know, I just feel like this could have worked a lot better in an earlier season. So he goes home, and he's telling Early about his struggles and how he has to be a mortician, and Early just like rants about working and the working class and how you never have to work, and the majority of it just doesn't feel as witty as it used to. It doesn't feel like it has any intellect behind it. It feels like they're just saying things. Rusty goes back to his mortician office and he's practicing on his boss's body, and I did kind of like how his initial thought is, oh man, I just got promoted, how can I figure this out? He looks up a YouTube video and it's just top 10 embalming hacks, you know, getting that body ready. But then Rusty cuts open into him and blood squirts all over his face. Didn't like that very much. Again, it just feels like a lot of shock value stuff instead of having confidence in the jokes you could tell in the episode. So, not really my favorite thing. So then he asks Early to come and help him, and Early walks over and he's like, well, pass me some of that there formaldehyde, and he just starts drinking it nonstop, and just doing, again, a bunch of things that are really supposed to just be shocking, like he's drinking it, and then he starts chopping off a leg, and then he starts, like, just slapping him and saying, oh, these triplets, ooh, ooh, you know, it's just weird. But then we get to the 7-minute mark of the episode, and that's where I think the things get way better in terms of quality, because Early, he's setting up the body because Rusty just can't do it. They're all waiting in the funeral parlor, and I could not fathom this. Can you imagine? You're just waiting to see a loved one's corpse one final time. It's gonna be a sad moment. The curtain is open, and you see your loved one strung up on a surfboard, riding the wave, and his body is jiggling aggressively, and it's all like, well, you know, rest in pork, this is a Hawaiian special, and it's so unbelievably weird, but it's kind of funny. The concept is there. It's just so fucking odd. So yeah, his body's just jiggling on a surfboard, and it turns out that everybody in the funeral parlor, they love it so unbelievably much. They go outside, they celebrate, they're roasting a pig, just saying rest in pork, celebrating his life, and they learn that they have an important business model that they can use now to their advantage. And that was probably the best part of the entire episode. They keep putting on a bunch of different, like, specialties and special, like, bodies for everything until Early sees that he has to do a Auburn special, and he doesn't like that place. He doesn't like Auburn at all. And then there's just a bunch of jokes about how Auburn sucks. Nobody likes Auburn, whatnot. Yeah, again, don't really care for it. The best part of the episode is a jiggling body on a surfboard. Everything else is just pretty bad. So he can't do it because they're from Auburn. So Rusty has to do it, and he buys a exotic tiger, and the exotic tiger goes wild at the end and kills people, and that's the entire episode. It was just ultimately pointless. This was kind of a waste of an episode. It really does show that when a show does go on for a very long time, there's really not a whole lot that you could hang on to, like, especially when a episode, even from my standpoint, where I just watch it and then try to make jokes about it, if it's hard to make jokes about an episode and I just have to retell you the majority of the shit without being able to say anything funny about it, then that's your major problem. The biggest mistake any episode of any show can make is being boring with no substance. I'd rather it be really bad and at least there's like, oh man, that's so stupid it's good. Here it's just flat out boring. So if I was to rate this episode 1 through 10, I would give it a 1 out of 10, and that's very sad to say because the previous episode got a 9, but this was pretty sloppy. So there you have it. That's me taking a look at 3 episodes of Squidbillies, and honestly, this was a pretty fun show. That last episode that I watched there was pretty gosh dang awful, but I feel like if I watched any of the seasons where Early's voice actor was normal, I wouldn't be as bothered by it, and I would still be having a pretty good time. Overall, it's a very decent show. It got a 9 and a 7 for episodes that were decent, and the lowest rated, it got a really bad score, but I mean, it was season 13. I'm not gonna, pinpoint the entire show as being bad when the show clearly should have already ended at that point, and they were probably just getting paid some sweet dinero to try to keep it going. But either way, for the majority of the time, I enjoyed it. I loved it. So yeah, it's a show that I'll probably definitely watch on my own and maybe even consider making more videos on. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. I know you'll enjoy the content. If you made it this far into my conclusion ramble, I really appreciate you. You're amazing. You're wonderful. Here's a good old-fashioned smooch for ya. Now put that up close to your heart and go marching on with your day with so much joy. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.